Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be talking about raising awareness about mental health, speaking up against mental health, and my overall opinion about the stigma about mental health. Now, a few of you have asked me to give my opinion on the Duchess of Cambridge's campaign about mental health, and for those who don't know who the Duchess of Cambridge is, she's Kate and she married Prince William, and he will one day become King of England. And she has launched this mental health campaign to raise awareness about mental health, about the importance of mental health, and about helping children from a very young age understand and give them people to talk to if they need it. My overall opinion on that is it's good, because mental health is something that is very, very underrated. It is something that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to deal with, everybody wants it to hide away. It's the black sheep of the illness family. It is something that just should not be seen or heard in the world's eyes, and if people have a mental illness, you feel this shame and embarrassment, and it's just, the stigma against mental health is ridiculous. Now, I have gone through different types of therapies and counselling throughout my mental illness. So I got a sort of a rounded view of the NHS mental health in England. And for me, and the core NHS mental health service is not that good. You are treated as a case number, you get very few sessions, and you're just, it just doesn't help, and it sometimes has made my illness 10 times worse. And it wasn't until I stopped seeing sort of the core mental health service of the NHS, and I started going to the different specialised therapies around it, that I started to notice a difference in my mental health. I honestly think it's amazing that someone is finally stepping up and talking about mental health, and it's great that it happens to be the Duchess of Cambridge. I obviously speak up against mental health. I do the support group, and I publicly share my story, and I publicly share my views about mental health. And I am one of those people that firmly believe that the stigma against mental health needs to end. Because when you're on the side of mental health, you feel ashamed and embarrassed about having it because of the way the world perceives mental health. And it's not generally the world's fault. You are never taught about mental illness. I was never taught in school about mental illness. In school you were taught about so many different illnesses and diseases, but you were never taught about a mental disease. You were never taught about a mental illness. And a mental illness can just be as life-threatening and dangerous as a physical disease, but because it doesn't show up on an X-ray or a blood test, and there's no physical solution that a doctor can give you, like an injection or a pill that will fix everything, then it's just in your head, and it's something that people don't want to talk about. I still get embarrassed about admitting that I have a mental health problem when I meet people, when I meet new people, or when I see people from my past that don't know what's been going on, when I bump into teachers and I sort of have to admit it. Some people are very, very good at just hiding their face and sort of hiding their shock, or are just very, very open and generally don't have an opinion against mental health, and they are very, very few. Majority of the people, when you mention you have a mental illness, their face turns into utter shock and horror. The conversation and the easy flowing of the conversation is over, and they all of a sudden can't really look you in the eye. They get very, very nervous, and they just want to sort of escape as soon as they can, purely because they have no idea how to talk at you, and they then look at you as this broken person. Maybe I am broken, maybe having a mental illness means you're broken, but people are broken all the time. And even if you don't have a mental illness, you are constantly picking yourself up from an obstacle and putting yourself back together, dusting yourself off and moving on. People are constantly falling down and getting back up again. And that is the same with a mental illness. So that's where my opinion on it slightly gets a bit annoyed at the world. Because for me, having a mental illness doesn't mean that I am not a person. It doesn't mean that I am this broken person that nobody can really talk to or look at, and no one can look me in the eye, and I'm all of a sudden got this huge cloud over my head that's flashing with the word mental illness. Do not enter. So I think it's very good when people share their stories and want to stand up and raise awareness against mental health, because it's not going to change unless people start making some noise about it. And I am one of those people that firmly believe that if you want something to change, then you've got to make some noise about it. And mental health is one of those things where unless people start talking about it, people start making some noise about it, then the world isn't going to change. And over the past few years, especially this last year, mental health has gotten a lot of attention. We have Mental Health Week, we have National Mental Health, and it's just crazy how all of a sudden mental health has become on other people's radars, and how other people are slowly starting to maybe change their opinion about mental health. And I think it's great, because just because you have a mental illness, you are still a person. You are still a person with feelings. You are still a human being that deserves a life. You still deserve to be able to live a life. If someone has a broken leg, or if someone has cancer, or if someone has any sort of disease, they have people send them get well soon cards. They have people wishing them well. They have a lot of support. But you mention you have a mental illness, or that you self-harm, or you've tried suicide or anything like that, and it's like you are cut off and there's a giant gap between you and that person, and they will not cross that gap, because to them that's just not what you're supposed to do. So I am very for the Duchess of Cambridge and her campaign, because it's about time that people start listening and people start changing their views about mental health and realizing that we're still human and we haven't changed, we haven't turned into these disgusting aliens that have this weird sort of disorder. We are human, we're the same person, we have feelings, and we deserve to be treated with respect. And if we self-harm, or if we've tried suicide, that doesn't mean we're doing it for attention. That doesn't mean we're just wanting people to notice, or we're just being selfish, and that's not what it's for. What it's for is because we need to take our pain away, and it's about time that other people start to learn and understand what it is that makes a person do that, and not judge them so quickly. I would love to hear your views and opinions about the Duchess's campaign, if you've heard of it, or your opinion about what we should do about mental health, or your opinion about whether speaking up is a good idea, and just your overall opinion about raising awareness about mental health, just to sort of get different views, because everybody has a different view. Some people might not want other people to know about mental health, whereas other people want other people to know. Everybody's different, and we should respect that. So thank you guys for listening to my ramble all about awareness and mental health. I rambled on for a while there, but I also hope that it gave you something to think about and just a little insight into what I believe about mental health. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.